desnuda y silenciosa soledad. El viento del mar causa por las calles y ha venido a posarse aquí en mi pecho.
Welcome to Transformation Highway. You're listening to KZSC Santa Cruz 88.1 FM and kzsc.org. My name is John Malkin, and this is Transformation Highway. And today, part of what we'll do is open the phone line and take questions for Barry and Joyce Vissell, who are my guests here in the studio today. The phone line here, you can jot it down, and we'll be opening that shortly. The number is 831-459-4036. It's 831-459-4036. And I'd like to welcome back to the program Barry and Joyce Vissell. Very nice to have you here. Hi, Joyce.
Thank you.
Hey there, Barry.
Thank you. Hi.
Thanks for returning, and look forward to talking to you today about relationships. And I know that you just finished a in-depth couples retreat, and I'll just tell people a little more about you before we start. You have written a number of books, including The Shared Heart, Models of Love, Risk to be Healed, and there's a couple of books that each of you wrote that kind of come together as a whole to really love a woman and to really love a man. And I don't know if you want to offer a little more about what you've been doing in terms of relationship counseling and retreats and working on communication with people.
Yeah. So, yes, we love writing the books. We love more working with groups. We have workshops and retreats for individuals and couples and families. We have a big, wonderful retreat for families and individuals and couples, everybody up at Brighton Bush Hot Springs every July. And, you know, we'd love to invite everybody to check us out on sharedheart.org, our website.
Do you want to add anything, Joyce? How long have the two of you been together? And I don't know if you want to say anything about your beginnings and where you are now.
Well, we just had our 50th anniversary 2 months ago. That was very special for us. And we were together 4 years before that. So it's been 54 years. And we decided maybe 48 years ago that we would dedicate our lives to helping people in their relationships. And that's our passion, really. We love seeing couples have a breakthrough and be able to go on and have a fulfilling relationship. Because all couples go through something, some kind of challenge at some point in their lives, and a lot of couples just give up completely, even if they have children, and they just give up. And there's a lot of ways that you can just keep pushing through and having that breakthrough that can allow you to have a very fulfilling life together.
Let me just add that Joyce and I have probably gone through just about everything that most couples go through, and in these 54 years that we've been together. And so we know the pain, we know trauma, we know all of it, and I think that's what really qualifies us the most to help other couples.
We haven't been divorced.
We haven't been divorced, but we've been separated. Yeah.
And we have 3 children, which helps a lot. It helps us to understand couples with children.
Right.
And I know that you're open to taking phone calls today here on the program. I'm going to remind listeners that you can call in. Give us a call here at 831-459-4036. If you have any things that you are wondering about in terms of your own relationship, if you're facing struggle or difficulty communicating or having a level of understanding that you would like to have, Joyce and Barry are here and would be happy to hear from you and take your question. As we are talking, I'm wondering if there are particular tools, methods, or styles of communication that you find most helpful when you two are trying to solve something in your relationship or when you're trying to help other people.
Well, I think I would begin by saying that it's really important to make the relationship a priority, and it doesn't mean. So we started out our relationship. Barry was in medical school, so we went the 4 years through medical school. So obviously, I did not see him the same amount of time that he was in medical school. Not even slightly, but I always knew that our relationship was the priority in his life and in my life, and we had this commitment that no matter what came up, we were going to work it through, and a lot came up, especially maybe the first 7 years. The first 7 years are the hardest. Typically for a relationship, and a lot came up, and we had this commitment. We're going to work it through. We're going to do everything we can to. So just that commitment is good. Go ahead, Barry.
Oh, I'm going to just make it a little bit more personal. That probably the hardest thing we've been through is my having an affair with Joyce's best friend. After we'd been together 7 years, and that was major crisis, and Joyce left, and basically she ended the relationship, and what I didn't, I realized why I had the affair. I was in denial of having a little child, a little boy inside of me that needed love. I was like pretending to not have that child. And so I refused to acknowledge my need for Joyce. And after Joyce left, my heart broke open, and I realized for the first time, I was 25 years old, how much I needed love, how much there was a little boy inside. And so that's like one of the cornerstones of our work with couples, to help couples get in touch with that inner child and not neglect or ignore that child part. So that saved our marriage, one of the ways.
And Joyce participated in that part of the process, or did you do that with someone else? This sort of connecting with your inner needs and your inner child.
Yeah, no. What happened was when I recognized that inner child, it was such a major breakthrough, and I was so broken down and so open and vulnerable, and that's the other key. And it's because of that Joyce actually came back tentatively at first, but when she realized all that I was learning and that I was now absolutely 100% committed to this, to my beloved, and still, I'll say that it took 2 years to work through it. But we didn't give up.
Well, it took 2 years to work through for me, the hurt and the sense of betrayal.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things. We do not recommend it for anybody.
But it's interesting that our counseling practice here in Santa Cruz, we attract lots of couples who've been through this, who are in the midst of, an affair or major betrayal, and we know how to work with them. We bring them into the vulnerable place where the healing can happen.
So, but you mentioned just other, that's pretty deep, Perry.
Yes.
what you dove into.
I just jumped right in.
But you mentioned other things, and another thing that's valuable in communication, because there are times when couples, don't get along, and their feelings get hurt, and the worst thing to do in those situations is to say, I don't know why I'm with you. I want to get a divorce. I want to end the relationship. To say those words in the heat of an argument is very hurtful, and it takes it to a whole other level that isn't helpful. Mm-hmm. So we just recommend that they stay with the issue, whatever it is that they're arguing about, and not say these other words. And the other thing that's really painful is to say something like, "You're just like your father," or to say it in a negative way, because even if the person had a father that they didn't even like, still you don't want to be compared in a negative way to one of your parents. Yeah. It hurts too much, and it sets what could be just a simple argument over maybe food or something into this huge thing that's going to take a long time. So you want to be really careful. At the workshop that we just did, we asked people what the words were that would hurt the most, and one woman said if her partner refers to her weight negatively, that just hurts too much. So it's good to find out from your partner what are those words that would just hurt too much.
Fighting below the belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like the two of you have a lot of clear communication about boundaries, and maybe even you stay very self-aware of what kind of communication you're offering, and you are purposefully using clear but not shaming or blaming language. That's really helpful. I think a lot of people, you're recommending that people don't use language of comparing, you're just like your mother or you're just like your father. In the heat of something not going your way, people come out with that kind of stuff. It's almost a practice to be in an intense situation and not go there. How much practice do you have, and how much agreement do you have about this in your own relationship? It sounds like you have a lot of agreement about this.
We've been here a few years.
Well, I think we each learned the hard way that you don't ever bring parents into any argument. You never compare negatively, because it's awful.
Right, and no matter
the result is awful.
Right, no matter how angry I am at you, Joyce, I will not say, "Let's get a divorce." And the thing is, yes, we're aware of how, we teach people communication. We're aware of all this, but you know what? We're still human beings, and we get into we trigger each other sometimes, not so often, but sometimes major triggers. And it happens. We're even at our age of 72 and all these years together, and we end up really angry at each other. And then kind of all the rules seem to go out. Not all the rules, but some of the rules go out, and we're just really angry at each other. But what our commitment is, no matter how angry we are, we take whatever time we need to look inside and see our own responsibility. Because, I'm so angry at Joyce, and I wish if only Joyce could change. But then I'm totally missing what I need to change. And so eventually we each are able to see our own part. How we like to use the phrase, how each of us stepped out of love or stepped out of our hearts. And when we do that, we can actually apologize for our own part. And then we're smiling and hugging, and it's over.
It's really important to completely work through every argument, because a lot of couples, they'll get to the point where it's kind of okay, and it's like that expression, to push it under the rug. That's not a good thing to do, because then the next time there's an argument, out comes the other argument that wasn't completely, and then that can happen 10 times. So you have 10 or 20 past things, and you're, what about this and what about that? And so, but when you work through something, there's an agreement that you don't bring it up again. It's done.
Yeah.
And also with every challenge, with every difficulty, there's always the possibility of a beautiful gift on the other side. That you'll learn something that'll bring you even closer.
Yeah. And by the way, don't be shy. Call us. Ask us anything. Anything.
The number to call here is 831-459-4036. Please do call, and you can ask anything you'd like about communication and relationships, and vulnerability, which is really important in creating trust in relationships. The number here is 459-4036. And it looks like we do have a call. Hi there. Welcome to the program.
Hi there. Quick question. I can take the answer offline. Have you heard of IFS, Internal Family System? Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the question.
No, not directly. But if it has anything to do with the inside child and the inside parent, we're very aware of that, and we've been teaching that for years, because it's a very important part of relationship for couples to just interact with each other as adult to adult. You're missing something. You're missing a lot. I'll just say a little bit, that our own, like we have our own unique issues, right, from our childhood. For me, there was violence in my childhood, and my inner child is still sometimes afraid of being physically hurt. And so what helps me a lot is for me to be with that child, and Joyce can help so much as a loving parental person who holds me and just tells me I'm safe and I won't be physically harmed. And that helps me so much.
You got all that from that question.
but
well, that was good, Barry.
But wait, and so for Joyce, she was her sensitivity was criticized as a child, and it was seen as something that was wrong with her. And when I hold Joyce's little child inside, I just like to say, Joyce, your sensitivity is a gift to the whole planet. It has helped me and helps everyone. And I'm sorry, I'm just going off on all of this, but it's important stuff.
It is, and it's great. And we have another phone caller, maybe the same, maybe a different phone caller. Hi there, welcome to the program.
Hi, how's it going, man?
Good, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you guys, I appreciate it. This is a pretty cool little program you guys have going.
Thank you. Did you have a question or an idea you wanted to share about relationships and communication?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really cool that you guys have this people, the Joyce and her husband, on the program. And I've been with this girl that I'm just madly in love with. I want to spend the rest of my life with her, and I see her as perfect in all her imperfections. And she really means the world to me, no matter what we've been through. And I think that's really important, and I like that you guys were talking about that. But I'm kind of dealing with a up and down of like if everything's really good, and then all of a sudden like something's really upsetting her really quickly, and there's nothing I can do about it. She tells me there's nothing you can do about it. I'm like, and it just keeps happening, and it's been happening for like 2 years now. Today's actually our 2-year anniversary, and it's like we're arguing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. I'm like so thankful for you. So yeah, I'm just like trying to figure out what's going on with how to really treat a girl that is emotionally unstable and like doesn't understand what's going on all the time.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. You know, she's probably not emotionally unstable. She probably just has big, beautiful emotions. And that's probably one of the things that you really love about her is her sensitivity and her emotions. I know I'm that way. And I think perhaps in the beginning, Barry might have even said I was emotionally unstable. But it's part of, I know now, it's part of what you were drawn to me. Yeah. So it's a beautiful part of your girlfriend. And the best thing to do is to just say, can I hold you? And just hold her. And you can't fix anything really, but you can hold her and you can listen to her. And honestly, that'll do so much, because she just wants to know that she's accepted and loved. And it sounds like you do love her very much.
Yeah. And I hear something else also. Sometimes you're not aware of things you say or some things you do that may hurt her. And maybe it feels to you like you hardly did anything and she's overreacting with her emotions. Trust me, I've been there many times. You need to pay attention, because when she is having a reaction, it's not, it seems like it's coming out of the blue, but there's something you need to learn. And you need to just ask and get the help. I've needed to ask Joyce so many times, okay, it didn't feel like I'd said anything or did anything. Why are you reacting? And Joyce would just, she would just say, well, this is what I'm feeling. And I needed to just trust that she's not unreasonable, that that her feelings are actually showing something to me. And it's so important to look at that. Okay? Thank you. Good question.
Caller, if you have any more you'd like to say, that's fine. And we're getting a little bit of feedback because your radio is on, maybe in the background or some audio device. Do you want to offer anything more, or? I
just want to say, hey, thank you guys so much. That really helps.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
Look into the situation.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much for the call. And I am here with Barry and Joyce Vissell. And they are married for 54 years. 50 years.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, together 54.
That's right, together 54. And they're the authors of a number of books on relationships, including To Really Love a Woman and To Really Love a Man. And the phone number here to speak directly with Barry and Joyce is 831-459-4036. My name is John Malkin, and this is Transformation Highway. And this is KZSC 88.1 FM and kzsc.org. The number here again is 459-4036. You both have talked about how important it is or how it's helped you so much to have this grounding commitment that you're going to make it through no matter what. It's sounding also, Barry, like you didn't necessarily grow up having that sort of commitment role modeled by your parents. I think there are few of us who have had that. What did you get from your parents, and how different is this, what you're doing, from what your parents did? I know what I'm trying to do in my marriage and my parenting is different in a lot of ways.
Do you want to
Well, yeah, we each had different experiences, and we each did the opposite. So my parents never fought. My mother, her whole family is from Sweden, and they're just very, very quiet people. My mother never raised her voice, and if I knew that there were tensions because I could feel them, but there was never a spoken word. But feeling the tensions as a child was very painful for me. So I decided I'm going to speak up. Whenever things are not right, I'm going to speak up right away, and we're going to work through it right away. And your experience, because your parents yelled a lot.
Yes, from Brooklyn, New York, a lot of yelling, a lot of anger, and I didn't see anything being worked through. You know, I saw the anger, and yet both of our parents, they were actually really devoted to each other, even though there was all this dysfunction. So maybe that's a good thing that we saw. They stuck it through. They did. But my reaction, like Joyce's reaction, was opposite to her parents. I became really quiet. And if ever Joyce raised her voice, or if she got upset with me early in our relationship, I would do one of two things. I would either shut down, or I'd run away physically. And neither of those things actually helped.
Well, I'm sorry, but you also did a third thing.
What was the third thing?
The third thing is that you would feel better than me, that I was having feelings.
That's true.
And you weren't. And so it's like a feeling of...
You were too emotional.
You had a feeling of a superiority.
Right.
Which was...
Not helpful either.
No. That was the worst.
Yeah. So
that's a common structure in our culture. This, what tends to be a male dominant sort of way of dealing with things of, I am not vulnerable and I am in control here because I'm not exhibiting any emotion. And that is maybe the great suffering for men. They miss out, we miss out because of that. You can't experience a lot if you're not in tune with your feelings and afraid to express them. And
thank you, John. The greatest gift Joyce has given to me, really, one of the greatest, is really allowing me to get in touch fully with my feelings, emotions, and that's really helped me so much. Yeah. Thanks, Joyce.
Oh, you're welcome.
The number here is 831-459-4036 up here at KZSC at the University of California in Santa Cruz, nestled in the Redwoods. And I'm here today happily speaking with Barry and Joyce Vissell. And what is there anything you want to hop into that we haven't touched on? If not,
There's so much.
Yeah, there's so much, and you're welcome to.
Oh no, go ahead. Whatever's you're curious about.
Well, the realm of apologizing and taking responsibility can get kind of messy. I think we're raised to hope that the person who's done something that has resulted in me feeling uncomfortable, that they're going to suffer and pay for what they did. And part of that is saying, I'm sorry, I did something terrible. And then you determine sort of a punishment. Our whole culture is sort of built on that. People are in jails and prisons because judges have said, well, you should be punished for this long in this environment, and then when you come out, you'll not do that thing anymore. And it doesn't really work. And it doesn't work in marriages and relationships either.
The worst. Okay, well.
So how do you handle
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me just say that, of course, the worst judge is the one that lives inside of us, right? That's the worst. And this is hard, okay? In every couples retreat we lead, we try to include a segment on how to take responsibility in a healthy way. And the opposite, the unhealthy way, is when we do something that hurts our partner. The tendency for a lot of us, and I'll speak for myself, is to go into a place of toxic shame where I am the one who is, it's my being is bad because I hurt you. Okay? That's the worst place, because then I'm gone. If I go to that place, there's no way I can take responsibility and be the adult again. And just say, oh, I get it. I did this, it had hurt you. I don't mean to hurt you, and I apologize. If I go to the place where, oh, I hurt you, I'm bad, then I'm sunk, okay? And so what we teach is we're beautiful, and we sometimes make mistakes, okay? To avoid that toxic shame, to identify, as a bad person.
So I've learned with Barry, because he was yelled at a lot, and there was actually violence also in his upbringing. And I've learned, by mistake, because I did it enough and saw the reaction, that if he makes a mistake and I come at him full force with anger, that I'm just going to lose him completely, because he'll go into this place that's completely shut down, and he's described it like his thoughts become like molasses. Like he can't have any clear thoughts or understand feelings, so I don't want that, because then nothing good happens from it. So what I've learned is, sometimes I don't always do this, but I try, when something happens, I'll say, I know you never intended to hurt me, but this happened. And so then it I don't know, it just, what does that do to you?
Well, it right away, there's the feeling that you get that I'm not like, okay, it's not like I'm thinking, how can I hurt Joyce? Of course, when we're fighting, it's different, but when I make a comment or do something that triggers you, when you say those words, when you just say, Barry, I really get that your intention is not to hurt me, but this did hurt me. That acknowledgement means everything. And I try to do that with Joyce too. So
yeah, it sounds like starting with an acknowledgement that your intentions were positive.
Yeah.
Your strategy didn't work so well, though.
Yeah,
or not even strategy, just how it came out. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, because there aren't any other calls coming in, and there is a call. Okay.
Okay.
Is that okay to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see who's on the phone. Welcome to the program. Hi there.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm calling about the subject of forgiveness and apologies. And I'm curious how you communicate with someone you're apologizing to and you're owning your piece of the story in an authentic and sincere way, but the other person wants you to feel the toxic shame. And I feel like I'm in that situation with some friends who are angry with me about some choices that I made that did affect them, but I handled it in a responsible adult way. But it's difficult to do the repair when they want me to feel poorly for my choices. And I can take this answer off the air.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Well, yes, thank you so much for calling in. Initially, my feeling when I hear this is that those really aren't very good friends, because a good friend, if someone sincerely apologizes and takes responsibility a good friend will accept that apology and be able to move on with you. That's what a real relationship is about. And I know, so with the two of us, if that kind of thing happened, we wouldn't have been able to stay together, because it would build and build, and eventually the joy and the fun would leave the relationship. So I don't know. I think you probably are going to have something better to say.
No, that was perfect, Joyce. What I have to say is, it's on the other side of things, that sometimes, and this may not be your case, you're the one who called, but sometimes I think I'm making an apology that is sincere, and it actually is not. That I'm not really feeling the apology. I'm not really recognizing what I actually did and how it hurt you. And when that happens, of course you, Joyce, you can't accept that. And it's not that you try to punish me, but it's not effective. And so you, because I've been through this, and I know that sometimes our minds trick us, and we think we're being sincere, and yet there's something that we're not getting. And sometimes, we're counselors, and we sometimes help people really understand what they're not getting in making an apology. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, it's always good to make the apology with vulnerability, to show them really the depth of feeling that you have.
Yeah, exactly.
We have another phone call too. Hi there, welcome to the program. Thanks for calling.
Hello?
Hi there.
Yes. Oh, great. I'm calling with a relationship question for Joyce and Barry Vissell.
Great, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Oh, we're online right now?
Yes, you are, and Barry and Joyce are excited to hear your question.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Well, my question comes from a vulnerable spot in my relationship. And what would be the recommendation about having time apart while being committed in a relationship? And when is it too much time apart that actually creates a distance that seems hard to bridge after we do come together? There's just this distance, and yet the time apart also feels good, and there's just this growing distance right now happening while I'm having time apart. I don't know if this question is clear. Maybe Joyce and Barry can ask if I made it clear. Question.
Sure. Thank you, Barry and Joyce.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take my headphones off. Yeah. So, this is such an important issue. Thank you so much for bringing this up. Sometimes we need time apart. We need time out. And Joyce and I have had time out, especially early in our relationship, significant time out times. And in those times, there is this very important inner growth that needs to happen. And we need to trust. We need to really listen to when we need time out, when we need our individual time, even to the point of living separately. Need to listen to that. It's not always convenient. It's sometimes the other person is like wanting us to be together more, and so we feel guilty for having time out. But ultimately, only you know when it's right to be separate, when it's right to be together. And this, you got to keep listening. You just got to. Otherwise you give in to, guilt and whatever. Yeah, thank you. Whoops.
Thank you.
Did you want to add anything else, caller?
This feels true to where I am right now, and thank you for that response. It really validates what I'm already doing, and keep trusting myself. That feels good. Thank you so much, Barry.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for calling. Thanks for joining the program. We have about 10 more minutes left, and Barry and Joyce, thanks for being here.
Our pleasure.
The phone number here is 831-459-4036 if you'd like to join the conversation. We're up here at KZSC. This program is called Transformation Highway, and I'm speaking with Barry and Joyce Vissell.
All right. So I wanted to share a few other things. One, what we've found is that having spirituality in the relationship is so important. Actually, we think it's the most important. And we started out our relationship where it was the greatest challenge. Barry was raised in a very traditional Jewish family. He was raised to understand that he must marry a Jewish woman. So I'm not Jewish. I was raised in a very traditional Protestant family, although my mom was very open to other religions, so I got that growing up. But we used to fight about it a lot, and our religion and our differences, and it was definitely our weakest part of who we are. And then it was actually Barry's affair, although how horrible, it was the most painful thing that's ever happened to me in my life. But the good thing is that in coming back together, we realized we had to have spirituality together. We had to have some way that we could connect. So we studied Buddhism and Hinduism and Sufism, and I mean, one summer we lived with the Sufis in France. I mean, we really dove in very, very deeply. And what we emerged with is just this presence of love that is within all religions and all spirituality. This love that we can't see, but we can count on. It's a higher power, higher energy. And when two people can really draw strength from that, their relationship can really take off. And there's different ways to draw strength from that. What we do is we sit every day and we pray together. And it's not a huge long time. Sometimes it's just a few minutes. But knowing that we can call on this higher energy it's really transformed our relationship. I think it's the most important. And the other thing is to feel grateful, to live your life in this feeling of gratefulness, and to be grateful that you are alive. If you have a relationship, to be grateful for that relationship, even if it isn't perfect, but still to be grateful for it. And Barry, did you want to share?
Oh, and not only to be grateful, but it's so important to acknowledge your partner, to really appreciate your partner for who they are and what they do, all of it. It's spoken words of really sincere, heartfelt appreciation are so important. But I also, Joyce, I really want to emphasize the spiritual part. It's sometimes it's just not enough to go on your own personal energy of the relationship. You actually will drain dry. I mean, unless you learn how to plug in. I love that image of just plugging into it, your phone, to charge your phone. You know, there's a way to just, whether it's meditation or prayer or chanting or whatever it is, to just charge your batteries and bring that into the relationship. that's what really gives the magic to the couple.
Barry, I know that you do practice chanting. Do you want to say a little more about that? What traditions are you pulling from when you're chanting? We also have a phone call, too. Should we go to the phone and then come back? You can also chant your answer to the phone caller.
Okay.
And welcome to the program. Thank you for calling. Hi there.
Hi. Am I on the air or am I waiting?
You are on the air, and feel free to share any ideas or offer a question for Barry and Joyce.
Okay. Well, I have a question, but I also want to say I've been to one of their retreats, and I highly recommend it. It made such a difference in my husband and my relationship, which was good beforehand, but we received more loving relationship information from them in a weekend than we did in 2 years of counseling. So I wanted to say that first. Secondly, I wanted to ask, if one of us, and that would be myself, is really spiritual and the husband is not, and we've been together over 40 years, he's not really religious. I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. How do we then relate on a spiritual level?
Yeah, good question. That came to my mind 3 minutes ago when you were talking. Thank you for the phone call. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take my answer on the air. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what I will say is, and this is really, really important, you are both equally spiritual, and that's the secret. You know, one person may talk the talk or even walk the walk, but both of you would not be together. There would be nothing for you to, no attraction to be together in a relationship if you weren't equally spiritual. So you have to sometimes dig a little deeper and look at your partner's spirituality and just acknowledge the wealth that is there. And it may not be in a form that you want, okay? But if you look deep enough, you will see. You know, we go through this so many times with so many couples. And I'll say it again, we would not be together if you weren't just as spiritual.
Well, another thing you can do is gratitude is actually a spiritual practice within itself. Yeah. And people who don't feel that they're spiritual can oftentimes feel grateful. If you live in Santa Cruz, there's so much beauty here, you know, by the ocean and with the whales and the dolphins, and there's so much to beauty, and to have your heart being in a place of gratitude is really a beautiful spirituality, and that's something that you could do together when you're walking, or if you have a garden, you could be out in the garden and just appreciate and be grateful for the beauty of the flowers or children. You know, it's gratitude is a beautiful spiritual practice.
Yeah. There's
Mm-hmm.
many spiritual practices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the key is to find your unique practice for you as a couple.
We only have a minute left. If you want to share with people how they can get in touch with you and know about upcoming retreats, and if you want to offer a little bit about your chanting, Barry, as well.
No, but I would love to chant, but I don't have the time. But I just really encourage everyone to. We have written an article on relationship and spiritual growth and personal growth every month for 30-something years. They're all on our website. Shared 38 years. So there's a wealth of information for you on every topic imaginable on our website, sharedheart.org.
Thank you.
Yes.
And Barry, it's so great to have you back here again. And Joyce, very nice to have you here as well. Nice to meet you for the first time.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for being with me on the program. And let's do this again.
Yes, John, you're great.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
really are. Thank you.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
This is Transformation Highway. My name is John Malkin, and this is KZSC 88.1 FM, kzsc.org. Thanks to all of our callers that called in today. That was wonderful. And stay tuned at 1 o'clock for surprises with Tiffany